Why separate people who are unhoused from residential areas and schools? Because sometimes unhoused people are dangerous, and sometimes they're just scary. And the people in homes will call the police, and the police don't always de-escalate violence. I'm not going to show the beating of this man, but he was non-violent, he ran, he's tackled, and then the punches start. That's where I'm going to stop. I'm not going to glorify violence. I'm not going to show somebody's pain and suffering for us to view. The point is, the police can help in many different situations, but not all. Sometimes they escalate the violence. Separating people can help everybody with safety. Now it's time to take a walk to the proposed emergency shelter in Sutherland. Morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. A muffin morning. Check that out. Still got 15 minutes left to say hello. I'm here at the Sutherland Fire Hall in Saskatoon. The Mustard Seed Church is the group that's supposed to be overseeing this, and there's been a lot of controversy about this. And it's very, very hard to know where I stand on this. I am so emotionally torn. On one hand, there are people in this community. I walk the area all the time. There's at least a dozen people in the area who are homeless, or the term I believe that's preferable now is unhoused. So that's the term I'm going to use throughout this video. There are at least a dozen people in the area in Sutherland, Forest Grove that are unhoused. And if I've seen them, that means there are a whole lot more I haven't seen. These are the residents of the area, even if they are not homeowners. They don't own property, but that's not a prerequisite for being a citizen. There are people in this community who own multiple houses. And that, just because I own one house doesn't mean I don't get a say in things, doesn't mean I don't count. The homeless shelter being proposed here is unfortunate because a fire hall has all kinds of amenities. It's a decent size. There's offices for the staff, a large communal area. Fire halls have kitchens, washrooms, showers, beds. It can be a very beneficial place. It could be a fantastic building, but it is far too close to residences and as a school. Well, take a look around here. I'm just going to spin the camera. We've got homes all over the place and apartment buildings. And there has to be some kind of a middle ground. So this video is about this shelter and homelessness in general, unhoused in general in Saskatoon. And it applies throughout every city in Canada. In the past few years, 4 or 5 years, inflation has skyrocketed. The price of absolutely everything is ridiculous. We've got issues with landlords nationwide, thousands upon thousands of people being evicted, renovictions, where the landlord will claim they need to renovate just to get rid of the people and immediately jack the price up 200 to 300%. Your rent was $1,000, now it's $2,000 or $3,000. People who didn't need to be homeless are becoming homeless because there is no choice. You can't pay that rent and eat food. and the price of food is way, way up too, easily 50 to 100%. So much of the food in the grocery store is double what it was just 5 years ago. The entire east side of Saskatoon has no shelter. There's no shelter for anybody who is homeless. We're going into a few nights here of minus 30, and people get frostbite and they die in the cold. It is a very real problem. It is a very serious problem. I strongly believe this half of the city needs some kind of facility, something. But not beside other people's homes and a school. This shelter is going to turn away people who use drugs. And there is a portion of our population, with and without houses, that uses drugs. I don't want to be around a wild house party in the suburbs with violent drunk people any more than I want to be around a homeless shelter where the people have been rejected from the shelter are the ones who are more likely to be using drugs and have a problem with it. It is an incredibly difficult emotional thing. I have been trying very hard with several departments of the city because each department has its own list of what properties they own, and I've been trying to find an alternative location, anything that would meet the needs of unhoused people and the residents of the area. There was a meeting recently at the local school, Ukrainian Orthodox Bishop Filovich School, where Darren Hill, the local councilor, had put that on himself. The Zoom meeting, and the public Zoom meeting and the public town hall, those were both canceled, and I have not seen them rescheduled, but City Council is going to vote at the end of the month. We're in the middle of the month and time is running out. It's unlikely there will be any public forum. There has not been public consultation. That's really the issue here. People need to be spoken to. You've got to tell the residents what's going on. The best thing that happened at that meeting was somebody from a group that walks throughout the city and helps unhoused people with the SAGE group. And I was able to connect with them, and last night I walked with them. Tomorrow night I'm going to walk with them again, and my plan is to continue doing so. I would like to be the absolute best part of somebody's day when they are freezing, when they are hungry. I want to help them. I will go to their community, and if this building opens up, then I'm going to be walking here and I'm going to help them in this community. I'm going to help people no matter where they are. I do understand there needs to be a separation though, and this isn't just about people with and without a house, but the same is true for any kind of large income class disparity. I would strongly be against a gated community, a mansion being plopped here too, because for the person in that mansion, they view everyone else as less than them too. To avoid conflicts with people, there should be some separation. Unfortunately, a lot of the GoPro footage I had from that public meeting that Councilor Darren Hill put on, it was lost. My batteries ran out, so I couldn't keep recording. I was able to get my speech from somebody else, and I'm going to play the audio of that. I'm going to follow that up with myself talking after I walked with the SAGE group and after we helped out about 40 to 50 people in the cold. And it was an absolutely incredible experience, and it is worth it if anybody joins them, or if you can't join them for a walk, if that's not what you're into, if that's not what you're comfortable, because there is a level of risk involved with that. Donate to whoever you can. If you will not have people in your community for a shelter, then help the communities who have the shelters. We all have to do something to be citizens in our communities. We need to get out of our houses and we need to meet people. And the best part about today is I did go for a walk and I did meet a whole bunch of fantastic people at a church, and I'm going to be joining them. I'm going to go to their service and I'm going to meet them and I'm going to get to know them. They seem like fantastic people. Thank you. I just want to make sure that I'm being heard. Carrie Karasoff in the back. Can you hear me clearly? You can? Yes? Good. Hello, Saskatoon and Sutherland. My name is Russell, and many of you have probably seen me. If you haven't, I encourage you to get out of your homes and take a walk.
I am an electrical contractor who has been everywhere in the city, in people's homes and their businesses. When I am done my jobs, I walk the streets, I walk the alleys. There is not a single place in the city that I have not seen, that I have not been. When I have requested to have do a police ride along, I have been told that the police don't do that for people who aren't trying to become a police officer. It's unfortunate, but I understand the safety concerns. My response has been, I'll see you there, and I have. For 2 years, I walked through Gastown, Vancouver. I am not afraid, and I am very familiar with homeless people with addiction. I do understand your concerns. One woman had mentioned 86% of the people have an addiction, but also there was a gentleman who mentioned that people in homes also have drug issues. And that's something to keep in mind. I can confirm, personally, I have met with approximately a dozen different homeless people in Sutherland. We do not have a shelter here on the entire east side of the city. They do not have a place where they can walk to. They do not have a car and they do not have a bus. They will not get to another shelter. It is extremely important that this half of the city has a shelter. I do understand that the fire hall, it's an amazing building, it's a perfect building, but let me speak. It is a perfect facility, but it is in the wrong location. And as Darren Hill has mentioned, the adult services bylaw, which would put them into an industrial area further away from residences and schools, that's an excellent idea. It is important for everybody to be safe. That is necessary. And a lot of you have fears, especially the woman from Ukraine, Slava Ukraine. I hope that you come to our country and you can be happy and safe. The number one way that all of us can keep this place safe is to get out of our homes and our cars and to go for a walk, to say hello to your neighbors. Yesterday, my son and I were going around, the sidewalks are like an ice rink. We were walking around with sand that we got from the city at one of their free piles, and we were offering, with the permission of homeowners, to place the sand on the sidewalks, the public sidewalks, to make those safe. If you ever see me, my name is Russell, and I am here to help. I will always be walking the streets, and I will help anybody I see. 5 nights ago, at 10:26 in the evening, a man came onto my property. He was looking for shelter, and I went out there to offer him food and water. I cannot offer him my home, and unfortunately, just with any stranger, we can't welcome people into our homes. I wanted to get him to a shelter, and there is nothing nearby. As you had mentioned back there, you walk the streets. Yes, there are people who have children, and they're homeless. There are women. We want to protect families. Yes, they're homeless. And there are people they're adults. Male, female, doesn't matter. They have the mind of a child. There are mental disabilities. I have met people who, I'm not a physician, right? But most likely nonverbal autistic. They cannot speak for themselves. They cannot do anything with the government. They can't phone. They can't contact the right people. They do actually need help. We need to be able to get them to the right facilities. So, in conclusion, we need to have empathy, but we also need to keep people removed from residential areas and schools. I understand that. I did speak with several city departments to try to find some land that would be better suited. There is not one comprehensive list with the city. Each department has its own list of what lands they own. So this is not an easy task.
We could put it by the new fire hall on Preston Avenue.
I love that location, yes.
Actually, every fire hall, a new purpose-built fire hall, should have 10 emergency shelter beds in
Yeah.
each fire hall.
It has needle disposal, so we don't have to deal with needles, hopefully, around the
We
playground.
need a lot of move, but we're gonna put the problem back here in Southern.
Right, we don't want it right here near the school, correct.
Councilor, did you conclude?
Just with the last thing of please get out, walk around the neighborhood and say hello to your neighbors. Thank you.
I don't have an unlimited budget, but I spent $10 to buy 6 pairs of socks, and I found some Nutri-Grain bars on sale for 3 for $9. So donate what I can. I just finished my first walk out in the evening with the Sage Clan in Saskatoon over on 20th Street, and it's an absolute honor. It's an incredible experience. It was a very positive night. 40 to 50 people were helped. I think the number one request right after food and water was gloves, blankets. That's what people really need right now. And it's cold, and we're about to get some even worse nights. It's going to be minus 30. Tonight was pretty mild. So this is an incredibly important thing. This is an amazing group, and I want to keep going out with them. I want to support them with everything I've got, which is I can't help 50 people a night on my own, but I will absolutely do my part, and I'm going to go out, and it's the way to make any community safe. Walk and greet your neighbors, and they are our neighbors, and they don't have homes, but they are our neighbors. And it's not just 20th Street. It doesn't matter where in Saskatoon or any city in Canada you are. If you walk the streets, you can take your dog for a walk to and from work and school, walk your kids to school. But anytime you're out in the neighborhood, you are making the place safer for yourself and for all of your neighbors. And this was such a tremendously wonderful experience. It was so positive. I'm gonna keep doing this.